do something a little different. I want everybody to look up right here, right here. We want to introduce you to somebody that's extremely special. This is the first time this has ever happened, for us anyway. There's a wonderful young man by the name of Jared. And, you know what? Everybody should look around at each other and be thankful for what you have. This young man, unfortunately, his sight has gone, which means, everyone, listen to me, which means he can't see you. All he can do is hear you.
Did you ever feel like you were living the perfect life? That you'd have to pinch yourself to see if it was all just a beautiful dream? Did you ever love so deeply that it can only be felt and not explained? That's how my life was with my wife and 2 children. That's how it was until we learned that our son Jared, at the age of 11, was going blind.
If I believed in their predictions and fate finally pulled my way.
Jared, we're gonna take you home. Nobody will mess with you.
You would shine on and maybe we could be
Yeah, he loves
someday.
you.
Someday.
Right here.
'Cause you
Love you guys.
the
Bye-bye.
perfect kissing.
Jared.
I wouldn't see if I died before you. What a sad
Don't hit the bed when you go back, okay? Honey, don't jump on your head, Jared.
I like you.
Yes, honey.
Have fun tonight at your graduation.
Is there anything this man can't do?
I have found you standing here alone instead of
And we were leaving the pediatrician's office, and I said, hey, while I was paying, Jared, do the eye chart. Check your eyes out. Because he's been having some headaches and some vertigo. And so he came running up to me, seemed so young then, came running up to me and said, Mom, I can't see out of my right eye. So I looked at the nurse and she said, you still have a headache? And he said, yeah. She said, sometimes when you have a headache, that affects it. So she said, call us back in a little while.
Jared comes up to me and he says, Jacob, I can't see out of one of my eyes. And, you know, I kind of brushed it off as not a big deal. And I'll never forget that because Jared always, you know, in a certain way, he always would say things, you know, oh, Jacob, I broke my hand, you know, and you know, he was fine. So I just kind of said, oh, it's no big deal. I'm sure it'll go away, or, you know, just blowing him off kind of thing.
When my brother was first losing his sight, it was very hard for all of us because we didn't know exactly what was happening to him. So we were all really confused.
I really didn't know what disease I had because I kept going through different doctors and they kept telling me that I had a different disease. But like some said I had a tumor, some said I had multiple sclerosis.
There was a couple of months there where we just said, you know, at least he's got one good eye. A lot of people go through life with one eye. And, you know, yeah, it's horrible, it's sad, but he can still make it. He can still function. He'll still be able to drive a car and, you know, have his friends and go to school and college and all of that. And then we found out that, you know, they were going to these hospitals left and right.
We went to the Mayo Clinic, and they checked him out for 3 or 4 days and couldn't find out what the heck was wrong with him. And he was scared, and I was scared. And they couldn't figure it out, but they did find out the day before we left. They did a VEP, a visual evoked response test or something, where they shoot a beam of light in your eye and they figure out how long it takes to get to your brain. and they know how long it should take. Well, they came back and said his good eye is not as good as they'd hoped, and they think that that eye was going as well.
We got a call in North Carolina, and he was very upset and very emotional on the phone. I did not take the call, my grandfather did. And you can tell that he was crying on the phone, and he was saying, my son's going blind, my son's going blind, kind of thing. And ever since then, it's, it's been tough.
At 13 years old, an age when most kids are worried about pimples, parties, and who likes who, Jared Hara's had to learn to live without sight. Bill Schaefer says it's a story that is positively Central Florida.
Yeah, this one sure is a tough situation. I mean, imagine, for a year, it was hospital after hospital, test after test. Nobody knew exactly what was wrong. Was it terminal? Would it just go away?
And I was really scared and really sad. I would always cry and stuff like that because I didn't know what was going on. I was just really confused.
It turned out to be a disease called Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy. What it meant was, at the age of 11, Jared Hara was going blind.
Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy is a disorder that affects the optic nerves primarily. And the optic nerves are the cable that connect the eye to the brain. So if you have a dysfunction or if you have any abnormality of the optic nerve, the main result will be patients won't be able to see.
And they have sudden, silent, painless loss of vision in one eye. Within several weeks to months, at the longest, the other eye suddenly as well begins to go blind. And it's a hereditarily inherited form of blindness.
In the center, it's kind of black, but everything else, it's just kind of like if you're looking at a TV that there's no signal and it's all the black and gray fuzziness. It's kind of like that, except you can see colors through it.
Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy is a specific disorder where you have a mitochondrial abnormality. And the mitochondria is the energy source of our cells. If you have an abnormality in the mitochondria, the cell won't be able to live. And in the optic nerve, that results to not being able to see. The only mitochondria that we get is from our mother. And I think the mother may, and the family may have a sense that what have we done to our child? We pass this gene on to him, and that may be very difficult for them to understand that it's not their fault. I think it takes time to explain to them that it was nobody's fault, and that these things, these genetic abnormalities do happen.
I feel guilt, but it blindsided me as much as anyone else. I didn't know. It wasn't like I hid this from everybody. I know I have this gene. It took everybody by surprise.
The problem, of course, for the family is that this strikes a very otherwise healthy, robust child in the prime of young adulthood or late boyhood, and suddenly the family and that boy's life forever changes. And it's a devastating thing. It's not quite like the death of a child, but it is a serious family crisis.
When Jared was finally diagnosed with Leber's, we started with a basic pair of glasses. I think you probably wore them for a day. All they were trying to capture at this point was the vision in one eye, because the vision in the other eye was already gone. Then it got to the point where regular glasses didn't work, so we went to a low vision specialist in Sarasota. As most people would know, if they see two lenses in a glass, they would think of bifocals, but the two circles on this glass are magnification.
That was the tough part. It was the progression of losing the sight. It took months before it was gone. He was on the couch once, and he just started waving to me. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm not going to be able to see you real soon."
It was hard for Mr. Hara, really hard for him. No, not that it was not hard for Mrs. Hara at all. No, they cried every single day.
There was blame, there was anger, there was sadness, there was depression. And to watch this family was so hard.
I saw like things that weren't working as well as they were with our family, but I never thought that our family would fall apart because they always promised me and Jared that they would never get divorced or nothing would ever happen like that. So I knew that even though it was hard, I knew nothing would happen.
I felt like we were moving like really like farther apart, and I felt like my parents were moving farther apart, and it was that was a big like part of my emotions. That really made me sad because I felt like I was causing it. So I had to get a lot stronger so they think like I was okay, and then they might go back to being fine.
He didn't want his parents to suffer, and every time he was happy, you know. But I know he was very devastated and hurt. He cried, and I told him so many times, it's okay to cry. You can cry, you can say bad words, anything you wanted, I say. And I know they don't speak bad words in Mrs. Hara's house. I'm teaching him bad words in Spanish. And I told him, you can say all these bad words in Spanish when you're met. And he learned the bad words. And he was telling those bad words all the time in Spanish.
The beginning of 7th, he didn't go to school yet, and I'd always beg him and tell him he needs to come to school because it was so boring without him. And finally he came.
When he came in, we tried to be upbeat with him because there were some days that he did come in and you could tell he did not want to be there. This was the last place he wanted to be. He wanted, be at home and just be at a place where he was safe and comfortable. So it was hard seeing him like that.
I guess what made me sad was there was a lot of things that I didn't know that I could do back then and that I couldn't do back then. And everybody else, like all my other friends were doing it, like doing like a bunch of stuff, and I was just being like left behind.
He once came home and told me, Dad, people used to want to be like me, or people liked who I was, and now people don't want to be around me anymore. You know how you have your true friends, and then you have your friends, and then you have your good acquaintances, and well, the true friends, if they number 2 or 3 in any of our lives, are wonderful, and those true friends hung around.
The one friend that stayed through all of it was Ali.
When Jared's eyesight started to go, Ali was one of those that always remained. Always. Never really faltered. Always wanted to pull him back. Always was there. And that's a really big deal, especially when the social world was kind of in flux for him for a while.
When he first started to lose his sight a lot, I cried once in bed at night thinking, why did this happen to Jared? But then I kind of got over it and went with his positive attitude. And I mean, we've really felt positive about it since then and done as best as we could.
They have the most unique friendship I've ever witnessed, and they adore each other. They defend each other, look out for each other, care about each other.
Okay. So you go back, and in one motion, you let it go forward.
But I don't think Jared would have even begun to survive this without Ali.
I have a fish! It's a little baby vest. That's beautiful. Bring it here. Don't make fun of my best. It's baby.
Stepping into mirrors and losing my footing, I find myself set sideways as I'm falling, but I'm seeing things new. Now I'm seeing things through you.
Ali and I are different from, we're not different in many ways, just I'm Jewish and he's Muslim, and that's the only thing.
Typically, you don't see Muslims and Jewish peoples as friends or as close friends. This can happen, and it does happen, and it happens more often than people think it does.
All people are God's children, regardless of their belief, regardless of their creed, regardless of their religious practices. That's certainly in accordance with Judaism. And the fact that two boys of different faiths can, reach across and connect. To me, that's also a very godly act.
Now you know, pick a seat. Always. Where? Obviously, one of the things that Jared lost was his ability to play hockey with his friends and his teammates. And Ollie was the guy that Jared wanted to be on the ice with most. But his true love was going there after school. Jared and Ollie really didn't play. They would just kind of wrestle. While everybody was playing around them, they'd be like in the middle of the rink just wrestling, knocking each other, tripping, whatever. He loved being part of a team. He loved the camaraderie on the team. And that was very hard to give up. We thought by getting Ollie and Jared back on the ice together, they could recreate those memories.
Good pass. What are you doing?
My last hockey game was last year at the Labor Day tournament, and I had 21,000 in my right eye and 2,200 in my left eye. I could barely see the puck. Like, I could only see it like if it went to my peripheral vision.
Jared got the puck, and he was nowhere near the goal, and he shot it. And sure as shooting, it went in. And everybody went crazy. I got emotional because I knew it was his last game. And I said, what a great thing that happened. And his last game, Dan, he didn't even know it went in until one of his teammates ran up to him and hugged him and said, great shot, Jared.
At first, I was sad to see him skate. I knew it was going to be kind of hard, and so I got used to that and helped him out a lot, and we had a great time. Don't hit it hard. Go, go, go. Perfect. You want to play offense? No!
I was really excited when I was told that I was going to go back on the ice, but I really didn't know what it'd be like. Like, I didn't know it'd be that hard. I thought it'd really just be like the old times and stuff, so it really made me sad. But I was also really happy to see that Ollie was really good now, and I mean, he's always been good, but he's really improved a lot. He's like a million times better than me.
We always used to play hockey together and have a great time. And I stuck with it, and he couldn't, and I know if he could have, he would have been with me the whole way.
I know Jared through Tatum. I remember the first time I met him was at the movies. She was like, oh my gosh, Marcel, you have to meet Jared. He's so awesome. And so I was like, okay. And then when we got there, I noticed him looking around, but I wasn't really sure. I mean, I was just like, okay, maybe he just likes looking at the movie theater or something. And then after, Tatum was like, did you know he was blind? I was just like, oh my gosh, no, I didn't realize that, but I thought it was pretty cool because he was just the same as any of my other friends.
Sometimes I actually do feel bad for him, like when he can't do something as well as we can. I just feel bad for him, like at school, like when he's in class. You just look at him and be like, wow, it's real.
So if you take a look at the map over to your left,
the teachers at the school really need some training, some ideas. They wanted to help, but they just were not sure how to. It's a different way of thinking and how to incorporate it into your classroom. And they need some guidance on how to do that.
but then your textbook is all on your laptop. Too,
Right.
That'll be cool.
A lot of kids will help me in my classes. Like, I'll always have, like, a friend in one of my classes that can help me. Like, they'll help me from class to class and stuff. I say all my friends are my seeing eye dogs, and they don't mind helping me around. I think it's better that they're my seeing eye dogs and not like a real seeing eye dog, because they're actually real, like my best friends, and it's a lot better because then I don't like actually like have like a label on me. Like if I'm walking down the street with a seeing eye dog, people will be like, "Oh, he's blind." Like they won't know until like I start talking to them and stuff.
It didn't make me that sad that he can't see me. It's mostly about the girls that he can't see that makes me sad.
I didn't really think of him as being blind when we were dating. I treated him like a normal person. And even though he didn't have his sight, I acted like he did. But when we were in public, I would just hold him close to me and help him around and just be by him. But other than that, he was just a normal person to me. His sight didn't really matter.
Tatum was really great with Jared. She'd walk him everywhere. They went at the movies and around school, and she was always talking to Jared.
He'd tell me how sad he was and how like his family is so sad, and how he thinks that he didn't like ruin his parents' life, but made them sad like all the time, made them cry.
Of course, the family that faces this in some way always feels guilty about it. They're challenged by it. Their whole life changes. The mother feels guilty because she becomes aware that in some way, through no fault of her own, she carries this potential disease. All of that needs to be looked at suddenly. Arrangements for the child who's suddenly going blind, his schooling, his depressive state, the parents and how they handle it. Medically, it's just an overwhelming situation. And the family, as you know, has gone to great lengths to try to find as much possible help for him as they can. And they've used some interesting, controversial, new forms of treatment to try to offer him the best that they can. But as far as I know, his vision has not improved. And the likelihood at this point, without miraculous intervention over which most doctors have no control, is essentially zero.
When I would talk to Mark, and I'd say, Mark, Jared is looking like he's accepting this. And Mark would say, it's because he believes I'm going to fix it. He believes his father can fix anything, and his mother can fix anything. And that's part of the pain, he said, is because I haven't done it so far.
We thought that we had the answer with the hyperbarics. And when it didn't work, it was a huge, huge fallback and huge disappointment for all of us. The time that Jared committed to that, too.
I think that the failure of the hyperbaric medicine, the hyperbaric chambers, had a terrible impact on Mark and Ellen's relationship. One of the specialists said to Mark and Ellen, hey, this may not be helping, and maybe this has actually made things worse. And so the guilt that followed this path that they'd chosen was tremendous.
When we were searching for Jared's diagnosis, or what was wrong with him, Mark and I were very close. We were like we'd always been. It was the day at Emory that broke us.
The doctor up in Atlanta told us about this disease that Jared had, and it comes from the mother. After we had spoken with her, we went out to lunch, and I gave Ellen a look like, I wish I'd never met you. I hate you because of what happened to my children. And even though she had no clue, and we had no clue, that she had this and was going to pass it down, it didn't make any difference.
He was starting to have a lot of anger towards Ellen because she gave this to Jared. And at one point, he told me he didn't think he could ever forgive her for that. And the next conversation, a couple of days later, he told Ellen that he didn't think he could ever forgive her for that, and that he didn't think he could ever love her again because of what she did to Jared. And those were his words, apparently. And so at the same time he's telling me this, he's regretful of it. And I think he's looking for a way to take back what he said. And at the same time, he's trying to decide if he really feels that way or not.
My aunt and uncle, they wouldn't talk to each other some of the time. My uncle has an office upstairs, and he would sleep upstairs on the couch. He would work endless days. It got ugly.
I couldn't look at Ellen for a year and a half. We sat at the dinner table. I never said a word to her. It was miserable. She hated me for what I was doing to the family, and I hated her for what she did to my children.
Sometimes when you get hurt, time after time, there was a few times during this that Mark has come back and said he loves me, but he couldn't hold on to it. He would fall back into a hole.
The way Mark treated Ellen after they found out that Jared had Leber's was awful. It was terrible. I don't think he even wanted to be her friend, and that was the most hurtful part of her whole struggle with this. Because they were the ideal couple.
I was pretty close to breaking. And just figuring out a way that I could live like that. I was never gonna leave because those are my kids, and those are his kids. And I would never, ever do that to Jared or Audra. But, figuring out how I could live with Mark without love was a tough one, because I loved him. Mark was in his office as much as he could be. He wanted to self-destruct up there. He wanted to be alone. He wanted to be in his cave, in his hole. He didn't want to talk to anybody. He didn't want to talk to his family, his friends. If Jared didn't need him, he would choose to be alone.
You don't understand how sad you can be and how much you can cry and still be alive. And because I was depressed, and I knew that I was damaging our children, I said, I'm leaving, I'm out of here. And I was walking out the door, and Jared came running hysterically and said, if you leave, who's gonna fix me? Who's gonna fix my eyesight? And for about 2 hours, we all cried, and we hugged, and we talked, and it was the worst day of my life, but it threw us all into a better place.
We just might be closer than how it is. Things could get better, or turn different. That we could be dropping a bomb from our heads. Is the great impossible. This could be heaven without all the shine. A great driven romance before it's on time. We could be getting ourselves in our lives. It's the great impossible. And you've been down this dark road before. Monster hole, but it's tricked you and turned it all to stone. Welcome both happy for the rest of our lives, or truth that's so crippling that you give up the fight. It's the great impossible.
I played hockey for 9 years, and after when I had to stop playing because I lost my sight, I didn't have like a hobby or anything. So I tried guitar out, and I really liked it, and I found a teacher that I really loved and stuff. Guitar it's not only my life, it's like my passion, and it's really one of the, like, it really excites me, and it like really gets me like going, and I really love it. Like, I'll sit in the garage for 4 hours a night and just play.
A good friend of mine that's really helped me, he had some Architect tape, and it was like on a little roll, and I just made chord blocks with it. If you put your finger on it, you could feel them. And I got Jared to relate with how this was the first 3 frets of the guitar. Somehow we got it. I could just tell him that this was out of fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I would number these with those. In this case, this is an A minor with 2nd, 3rd, and 1st finger here. From there, we were going.
All I expected out of guitar was to learn maybe like 2 songs, and then I'd be very satisfied. I never expected to learn so quickly or actually love it this much.
Yes, and feel free to put the blue note in that box. That's gonna be good, but stick to 2 notes per string for all the other boxes, all right? He's made me a better teacher. I mean, we hit the lessons pretty intense. Basically, when I come over here, I might have the guitar for 5 minutes showing him some new thing. The rest of the time, I'm accompanying him on the drums because he's got it down. For Jared, music has given him a whole world that he doesn't need to see. So yeah, it's his world. I mean, he don't have to see, he's included. He's included in anything he wants to be included in anyway, but he's included in this. He includes himself. Pretty hardcore in this.
A lot of people would think my greatest wish is to get my sight back, but it's really just to be in like one of the most famous rock bands in the world.
Yeah, he could be a rock star because he's only been playing for, I don't know, less than a year, and he's already as good as anybody I know, except Van Halen and that, but yeah, he's like amazing for not being able to see the frets and being able to read music, and all he knows is from his teacher, and he only gets a teacher once a week, so, and he's really dedicated to it, so yeah, he could definitely be a rock star.
My top 3 favorite bands of all time are probably Ozzy, Guns N' Roses, and Shinedown. Shinedown's a modern band. They're new, and they're from Jacksonville, and I think they're one of the best bands of all time.
A 1 and a 2 and a.
No, that's not how you count it.
Oh, how about this?
Just go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Jared would bring bands to me that I'd never heard of. You know, he'd say, Dad, you got to listen to this band, they're great. Dad, you got to listen to this band, they're great. One happened to be Shinedown, and one of the songs was 45. And once I heard it, I couldn't stop listening to it. And then he'd tell me another song, Fly from the Inside, and I listened to it, and I couldn't stop listening to it. Jared had a passion for them. I thought, how would Shinedown handle it if I called them up and said, you know, my son loves you, and he's been learning one of your songs, and you're coming in concert in our town soon. What are the chances of my son playing a song with you guys?
We are Shinedown, and this is Barry. I'm Brent. This is Jason. That's Brad. Enough, you know, they sent us the video, you know, the roughs of, you know, how they're putting it together and whatnot, and we got a chance to all sit down and watch it, and I swear to God, the kid is absolutely inspiring.
Lo and behold, I got a call from Brent Smith, the singer of the band. And he says on the phone to me, I don't know what you want, what you're asking for, but whatever you want, you got it. And I said, what? And he said, whatever you want, you got it. And I said, you don't know me, my son? He said, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want, I'm telling you, got it. You excited about going to the concert?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
There's something I haven't told you. I've been talking to Shinedown.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to meet you, and they want you to jam with them on the bus. And that's why we've been practicing that song.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm excited to meet excited.
I have a little girl that's 4, you know, so I can't imagine what his family's going through, you know. It's something, you know, it's just, I don't even, it's gonna freak me out. So.
He's got a pretty positive outlook from all the stuff.
He has an incredible
He's got a lot of
look
good,
on himself.
a lot of good humor about it. So it was nice to see that he's a good kid and that he is moving on and really working hard. So we wanted to at least do something special for him and get a chance to meet him.
And they're all waiting for you, babe.
What's up, dude? There he is right there. Nice to meet you, Jared. How you doing? This is Brad right over here.
Right to your right here, there's Brad.
Brad, nice to meet you.
How you doing?
I'm Jason, man.
Nice
I'm the
to meet
guitar
you.
player. Good to meet you, man.
Way over here.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, buddy.
Have a seat, bro. Come on down. You're right there, bro. What's going on, bro?
Nothing much.
Like that guitar, man.
Thanks.
Look good. Black's always a good color.
That's it. That's it. Thank you guys so much for this. Hey,
Oh, are you
no
kidding,
problem,
man?
dude.
Thanks for coming out and hanging out on this dirty bus.
Yeah.
We're so glad that you wanted to come and hang out with us, man.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody else does.
Well, I definitely did.
That's awesome, man. We've been out on the road for like 17 months. So, you
It's a
know,
lot of fun.
man, it's the most amazing life in the world. We heard that's what you want to do.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, man,
there you go.
That's what you got to do.
That's what you want to do, and that's what you're going to do. Yeah.
Hell, man.
Speaking of guitar, let me sit right there so we can play. Let's trade.
Jason's going to switch with me because he can see better.
Brad and I are going to get out of the way so there's a little bit of room back here.
Yeah. Let me squeeze out of here, guys.
So we can see in a bit, all right?
Yeah.
So me and Jason just hang back here with you. We got you all to ourselves now.
You're in trouble now.
You're in trouble now.
All right, you want to play this?
Is there an echo?
We'll do the whole song. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, and...
To watch this young man and the way he speaks and how his outlook is on himself and his future and his life, and I think to myself all the things that that I kind of take for granted.
We
It
cry
really-
and bitch about little things.
Yeah,
man.
and it's to see this young man, just through adversity, he looks so driven, to move so forward, and it's just extremely inspiring. It makes you take a look at yourself.
All right.
Come here, brother.
Thank you.
It's all good, dude. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us,
Thank
man.
you.
For real, dude.
Definitely, dude. Play that thing well, too.
All right, man. Play it quite well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I get angry sometimes when maybe still my dad will have his mind completely on Jared. And sometimes I'll also get angry just trying to figure out why this happened to Jared. And it would kind of, I think about it like, why him and why did it ever happen? It would kind of make me mad.
She was really sad because, well, I mean, I'm her brother, her little brother, and I lost my eyesight. And for something to happen when your brother or sister is just terrible. I don't know what it could feel like. It never happened to me.
It's very hard for Jared, of course, and his family, but for his siblings, in this case his sister, who carries the gene, that someday she may lose her vision. And we can't tell her when or how bad it's going to be. Yet she, I think, realizes that it's something in her system, and it's just like a ticking time bomb. It may or may not happen. I think that's also something that's very hard, I believe, for people to cope with, that they know that they have something in their body, and they're just waiting for that day for it to happen.
The value of me being able to see has become a lot more important because I never know what's going to happen in the future. Me and my mom will sometimes just check our eyes together. She's like, have you checked your eyes lately? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
Jared being a male, he will not pass this on to his children. However, his sister will be able to transmit it to her children.
I think she'd be willing to have her own pregnancy and have her own child. She's lived with this as a child with her brother and seen that her brother could carry on practically a normal life. I think Audra would risk it. And I think whoever ends up in Audra's life will be a person that will take the risk with her.
I'm really excited about having kids. I think it'll be fun. I love kids. I think Jared would be a great kid to have.
The things I would miss the most if I lost my sight would be my children and my husband and my family and my friends. Those were the things that immediately came to mind when Jared lost his sight. To never see his mom again.
What I would think if I went blind it'd just be hard for me to understand that I'd never get my sight back and that I'd always have to have someone help me around.
I can't imagine picking one thing that I would miss. The most convenient thing to say would be your children's faces or your wife's face. But you miss everything. I mean, you use them for everything, every day. So it's an incredibly difficult thing to lose. Eyes aren't called the windows to the world for nothing.
I am always awed by the way my patients respond to going blind for whatever reason. And when I see them and see how they have responded to their vision loss, it tells me that there's something inside of all of us that drives us to keep doing what we want to do.
Do you cry every day?
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
If I told you I cried every day, would you think any differently of me?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
What would you think?
I think you're always depressed.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Lately?
No, but if I knew for a fact you cried every day, then I think you would just hate it around me.
You would think that?
Yeah.
You don't think I enjoy being around you?
No, I think you do, but I think you also hide your sadness around me all the time.
I'll answer your question now.
Okay.
I don't cry every day.
Do you cry more than once every day? Yes. I caught you there.
I don't cry more than once.
Oh, sure.
I don't.
Okay, so when's your days of cries?
Let me ask you something.
Mondays? What is it?
If I hurt you by being sad, I'm sorry.
You didn't hurt me. You just made me feel guilty.
I did?
Well, in the beginning. I mean, now you don't. Now I really don't even care if you're sad or not.
Me and my two best friends, Ollie and John, were tubing from Fort Lauderdale, Pier 66 to Nassau, Bahamas, which is 182 miles.
We had planned the trip right after he lost his sight, and it was all small talk at first, but then we started to get serious about it. We called the Guinness Book of World Records, but they said they wouldn't do it, so we kind of forgot about it, and then we brought it up again.
It's almost symbolic that they're going to do this tube ride to Nassau because the tube is their way to hold on, and they're going to hold on for 8 to 12 hours all the way, and their friendship is beautiful. I just, and it's a challenge that Jared wanted to do. He knows nobody's done it. Therefore, it makes it really fun for him because he does like to do things that are very extreme.
Mark told me about what Jared wanted to do with regard to this trip to the Bahamas on this float, on this molecule, that he'd wanted to do this for a year. I said, Mark, what can they be thinking? What can you be thinking?
Is there any dangerous things to...
There's always danger. There's danger. We're going out in the open ocean on boats.
Like, could a shark?
I really highly doubt. There's definitely a lot of sharks out there, but we're not gonna cut your legs open.
What if like Jaws can like flip their tube?
Jaws?
Yeah.
It's probably pretty highly unlikely. There definitely is a lot of big sharks out there, without a doubt. Bahamas is known for them. And
thanks for not scaring me. Once
we got on the tube, we felt little chop. We're like, oh, this is okay. We get into the middle of the ocean, it's a 4 foot to 5 foot sea, and we were really getting beat up, and it got rougher and rougher and rougher. We just couldn't take it anymore, so we had to take a break. We went another, I don't know how many miles it was before we got back on.
We're gonna get the boys into the water.
Okay, make room for Ollie. Okay, you're being launched. Everybody good?
All right, Ian, they're yours.
Copy that. We're back in the game. Okay, we're rocking and rolling. Are you guys all right?
Nobody gave anything to these boys today. Nothing came easy. The whole day was a lot of wind, a lot of sea. Even on a regular day of just going out there in the ocean and coming across, the conditions today were unfavorable, and they did it on an inner tube.
I think the tubing trip was a success because nobody else has done a 100-mile tubing trip in that big of seas.
It was a success, I'd say. Some people would say it wasn't because we didn't get all the way, but it proved how good of friends we were.
You can't ask a mother if she wouldn't have had her children when already she has this unbelievable deep love for them. No matter how painful life is, you can't say you can't have them. I mean, they're already a part of me, and I love them so deeply. I could never say I could never have them.
If you were to play the tape backward and go back to, will you marry me? And if she said, yes, but there's something you need to know about me. Had she said, I have a gene, and it could possibly make our son or daughter blind, and then they would pass it on. I probably think I was shallow enough to walk away. But if there were ever the technology to say, okay, this is what you could have if you marry her, and showed me Audra and Jared and everything, it would have been an instant marriage. But not knowing, and no, I probably would have walked away. It would have been the biggest mistake of my life.
There's no question you're going to go explore everything. Had I known this when we got married, before we got married, would we have done it? You'll think that. You go through every step, and you have to go through it. And I don't know how we from the outside can predict or judge how quickly or how slowly you go through it.
What's good about time and love and the people you care about most is that, you know, you come back together and you let people in again, and you just start to actively pursue life instead of answers to why.
I am thrilled that what I hoped for, that we would find our way back to each other, or he would find his way back to us, has come true, but I am still guarded, cautious, and I need to let that down, and I will. It's just gonna take a little bit of time.
I've heard her so much that she's just so protecting herself. And it's going to take a long time, I think, before she opens up her heart to me.
My heart didn't close to you. My heart just broke. It broke because of Jared, and it broke because of you. But it didn't close. And I do love you so.
And I love you so.
And I love the kids. And what I always wanted more than anything was this family to be together.
And had she not fought for 2 years,
We wouldn't be together.
we wouldn't be together.
Sometimes you have to come from a really dark place, but it's completely up to you to pull yourself out of it.
Orlando all the way! I want everybody to look up right here, right here. We want to introduce you to somebody that's extremely special. There's a wonderful young man by the name of Jared. All right, come on up. And, you know what? Everybody should look around at each other and be thankful for what you have. This young man, unfortunately, his sight has gone, which means, everyone, listen to me, which means he can't see you. All he can do is hear you, and he's gonna play Fly from the Inside with us right now.
He thinks he's just coming in to like jam with Jason or whatnot, you know, and this and that, but we're gonna ask him, what would you think about, since you like that song Fly from the Inside, what would you think about playing it with us on stage today?
In front of about 6,000 people.
So we're gonna see how that goes over with.
You might have to check his shorts.
Hey, Orlando! Whoa! I want to make sure he knows you're all out there, because he can't see you. I want him to hear you. So when I say yeah, you say yeah. Yeah! 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 This song's called Fly from the Inside. Here we go, baby. Come! There's the weight of the world on my shoulders. So it's the weight of the world on my shoulders. It's on my shoulders.
It's a very metaphoric song, you know, no one can actually steal the sun from the sky, that's impossible. But it's that idea, it's about having that unattainable dream, or that dream that seems so unreachable that you can't get it. But, you know, when you fly from the inside, that's about believing in yourself and knowing in your heart that you can do anything you want. It's about rising above.
No one can stop it.
And no one can stop it.
Nobody.
Nobody.
I think I'll be watching him most of the time. Just I want to see that smile come across his face, and that's gonna make my day.
I'm kind of scared. I hope you don't show me up. You should be.
He's definitely an honorary member today. He is part of Shinedown as of today.
Thank you so much.
everybody's blindsided from something. It doesn't matter if it's like as simple as you didn't know a test was coming up and it's like a pop test, you're still blindsided from that. Or if somebody in your family dies, you're blindsided from that. Or if your parents get divorced, you're blindsided from that. You're always blindsided.
Well, Mama told me when I was young, said sit beside me, my only son, and listen closely to what I say. And if you do this, it'll help you some sunny day. It will. Oh, take your time. Don't live too fast. Troubles will come and they will pass. You'll find a warm arm and you'll find love. And don't forget that there is a someone up above. And be a simple kind of man. Be something you love and understand. Baby, be a simple kind of man. Oh, won't you do this for me, son, if you can, if you can. Get your lust from the rich man's gold. All that you need now is in your soul. And you can do this, oh baby, if you try. All that I want from you, my son, is to be satisfied and be a simple kind of man. Be something you love and understand. Baby, be a simple kind of man. Won't you do this for me, son, if you can, if you can. Oh, don't you worry, you'll find yourself. Follow your heart